Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So we have another disturbed MAGA man who will not be voting for Trump in November. Before I dive into the details, please hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. It really helps with the show's algorithm. Greatly appreciate it. So here is the deal. As we've said before, when Donald Trump sends his people, he's not sending his best. So 32-year-old Pennsylvania resident Justin Mohn, I think is how you pronounce it, Mohn or Mohn, Mohn is how it's spelled. He has been arrested for, among other things, murdering and beheading his father. So Mohn's father, Michael, was a 20-year federal employee. He worked for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And on Tuesday of last week, Mohn shot and killed his father. And then in a YouTube video titled Mohn's Militia, Call to Arms for American Patriots, Mohn said that he had beheaded his father, Michael, and he held up a plastic bag containing the evidence. So Mohn ranted for 14 minutes about the Biden administration, the border, globalists, communists, all the typical faux news, fear news network BS, the LGBTQ community. And he said, quote, America is rotting from the inside out as far left woke mobs rampage our once prosperous cities. Gee, I wonder where he got that from. He also said, quote, violence is the only solution to the federal government's treason. And then Mohn urged others to torture and kill federal officials and federal employees. He said even your own family. If you have family members who are federal employees, you should go off them. That's how disturbed this man is. And Mohn offered to pay people. He said, if you go carry out these murders on federal employees, I will give you money. I don't know how he would do that because he's apparently unemployed. He's living with his mommy and daddy. Anyway, he also read off the home address of a judge. Now, sadly, Mohn's mother is the one who discovered her husband's body that night. She called the authorities, and YouTube apparently deleted his video and his channel, but it had already been up for hours, and it had about 5,000 views at that point. So Mohn was later arrested. They found him at a National Guard facility about 100 miles from his house. He apparently broke into the facility. He had a loaded gun with him. They said there was no incident, though. He went peacefully when the police got there. And the police said that basically he was hoping to start a rebellion against the government. And when he was arrested, Mohn asked if he could speak with the Pennsylvania governor because he wanted to, quote, join forces. And the authorities say that Mohn has no history of mental illness or arrest, but in 2023, the police said that Mohn's employer reached out to them and he asked the police for advice about how he could legally terminate Mohn because the employer said he was concerned about Mohn's behavior at work. And Mohn's former roommate, it's a man named Davis Rebhan, he told CNN that Mohn was weird, that was his word, and also paranoid. Rebhan and Mohn apparently were assigned to share a room in college. This was in 2016. And Rebhan said, he didn't believe Mohn was dangerous. He never thought that he would do something like this. But he said, quote, even back then, he had very clear issues. He would always talk about how the government was out to get him. And it was always like these vague stories about it. He would never give specific examples. He would tell me these stories that always seemed exaggerated. So it was hard to take anything he was saying seriously or know what he was saying, the truth about it. Later that year, apparently, Mohn and Rebhan moved off campus. They moved into an apartment together. And Rebhan says that Mohn completely trashed the apartment one day. Rebhan told CNN, quote, at one point, he had a hysterical fit and smashed the apartment. I wasn't home when he did it, so I don't know what triggered it. But we had a long conversation after that, and he told me he had undiagnosed PTSD. So Rebhan went to the property management, told them what happened, and then a while later he moved out. Needless to say, Mohn is being held without bail. He's been charged with murder, abuse of a corpse, and possession of an instrument of a crime. So here you go. This is a perfect example of what happens when you have unstable people who all seem to be attracted to Donald Trump. Not a coincidence. Who all seem to be, just like flies to shit, magnets being pulled together. And they watch these same things over and over again on Fear News Network, OAN, all these other right-wing rags that just keep pushing these lies and conspiracy theories and the fear and the hate. And these people are already unstable for whatever reason. And this is what happens. You end up with tragedy. This is what everybody has been warning about. These news sites, these news channels, quote unquote news, should be sued. They should absolutely be sued for causing so much mayhem, causing so much destruction over the years. I mean, you would think that Fox would have learned from the Dominion lawsuit and having to pay out almost $1 billion, but apparently not. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, maybe all the families of victims. I mean, how many times have I shared stories with you guys about these Q-loons who went and killed people, sometimes their own children, because of these conspiracy theories coming from the right wing? They can talk about Russiagate, quote unquote, and all the propaganda, quote unquote, coming from the left. I don't remember anyone going and murdering someone because of stories that they saw on MSNBC. I could be wrong, but I look at a lot of news from a lot of different sources, even right-wing sources that I can't stand, just to see what they're up to and what they're saying. I don't see those stories. All right, I will let you know if I hear any more or when I hear more on this case. All right, everyone, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it, become a subscriber, as I mentioned. If you can donate, really appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.